Hello, everybody. Tonight is the 2nd of April. There's no more fools here, except we're quite busy preparing to be eclipsed next Monday in Dallas and swamped and swarmed and across the nation and the country. So anyhow, we're still going to try and talk about robots a little bit tonight. We have a very short queue. We'll see how it goes, and then straight to open mic after that. We'll start off with, I guess, Mike, if you want to talk about your thing and your odometry. And then Doug, Python experts or not, why not put it up there and we can see what the wisdom of the crowd can reveal, and then we'll have open mic. So with that, and thanks, Doug. There's a link for everyone, a Python course, AI drone. It's on discount for next little bit. Today, so jump on that link if you want it, if you're interested. And then Paul will join later. I don't know if he has any club business to mention, but that'll come up later if he does. So unless anyone has anything else to raise, I would suggest, Mike, if you're ready to dive in the deep end, the floor is yours.
Okay. Yeah, well, I've been using my time of flight sensors as to measure things out from the robot, so it can see the walls and everything. And I have a course that is a little shorter than competition, but it's basically to scale. And I was working on a way to adjust the position to measure with the walls and adjust the position of the robot using Ross's transforms. And the one that you're supposed to do is the map to odometry. And that one you adjust when you know your odometry is drifting. So I'm going to show my oh, there it is. I'm going to show my okay. So this is the RViz, which is the sort of the viewer of your robot from all the sensor perspective, and the robot starts down here, and these are the walls, and I only have room for 7.5 feet, so a real competition one would be about 10 feet, about up to here. But this zone here is for dropping the cans off for 6 can, and you see things jumping around because it's just noisy, the time of flight sensors, and the green dots are the ones that it decided to use, like using these green dots here for this left wall, and it's using these for the opening, and it's using these over here for the right wall. And so it's measuring the walls, and it's sort of aligning it to where it thinks the wall should be, and adjust for the angle and everything. So if I let the robot move, I'm going to have it run a course. There. Hit my. Uh-oh. Hold on.
Demo effect is strong with this one.
There it goes. So it just runs a course between the 4 waypoints, and it has to wait until it stops so it can adjust, the slippage and stuff. And so you notice that it's moving, and then it stops, and then it adjusts it, and you can see where the green points are the ones that it's using, and it's makes everything look pretty good. Like the dots are parallel to the wall, which adjusts the angle, and then the distance to the wall is adjusted. So it can do this all day. It does pretty good without this centering mechanism, like the odometry offset. But if I let it run a long time, it will be off. So this helps it if there's something like it's dragging like a can or something and it's slipping the odometry. But the odometry on my robot is really pretty good. So just all by itself. So this is my little show and tell. I wanted to show it with running 6 can, but I wrapped my cans with the new tape, which is the official color, and it's just not as happy with the cans. So I need to adjust my sensitivity for that particular color. So it's sort of boring. It'll just keep doing this all night, but I don't think we need to spend time watching it. So this is like my do-it-yourself SLAM algorithm. So I'm enjoying ROS as a framework to do stuff, but I sort of like doing my own stuff. but I really want to use their tools someday. But it's nice just to be able to do it yourself because you can understand what it's doing under the covers and stuff. Like their mapping algorithm, their SLAM algorithm is more organic, or I hate to say organic, but yeah, mine's like tuned to the shape of this course, so it's super tuned to it. It can't just take a picture of something and map to it. It has to expect the walls to be parallel and this and that. So so I cheated a little, but it works.
You designed the constraints. So can you tell what it's doing? So it does it, is the appearance perception about right that it somehow is looking at the walls and trying to measure the centers and then going to is it using the odometry to traverse and then recalibrating the odometry once it's parked?
Yeah. So when it gets to a waypoint, the way I've designed the algorithm, it stops. And when it stopped, the time of flight sensors give steady, accurate data. And then I say, okay, it's time to. I give it a second or so to say, okay, let me take this data and adjust the walls. So right here, it's moving to this one here, and it picked up these, and then when it goes to this one here, it'll pick up this wall really good.
So it does a curve fit to the walls, and then from there, kind of backs out where it is and recalibrates the odometry or waypoints, or
I use a polynomial to try to fit a straight line because I know the wall's a straight line. So
yeah.
And then it goes, okay, now I found a straight line. It looks at the data points and it'll throw off outliers, like if they make the straight line, if they make the slope of the straight line bad. So I look at the endpoints and I say, okay, if I throw that one out, does it get better or worse? And then I throw the ones out that make it worse. So it's like, okay, now I got some good data points. Because like in the corners and stuff, it's usually not that great. And then sometimes it was picking up, like this angle here goes to this angle, and it would pick up some points. And so basically I had to come up with a algorithm that would just pick the points on a straight line and throw out the outliers. Like if there's a can and then some obstacle in here, this white thing would be here. Let me put a can in here. You can see me in here. So you can see that, every once in a while you'll see that can there, and it'll throw that can out.
Huh.
I guess
So,
that's not a great. Let me put something more interesting. Here. Okay. Yeah. So it'll throw that can point out because it's a outlier.
yeah. Huh.
So that's the way I did it, and it does a good job. I noticed that one of my motor mounts was loose, so I took it apart and put some Loctite on it, and then it was way out of calibration. Like the odometry was bad because the wheel spacing changed.
Oh.
And so I said, okay, let me just let it run. And it ran and ran and ran, and it was keeping it sane, even with bad odometry.
Huh.
So I know that it corrects really well.
So can I ask a dumb, it's not totally related question, but when I look at your when I imagine the vectors of the time of flight light path, the ray traces, it seems like you're like right there, you're aiming pretty far away at the wall, pretty far away from the corner, and I'm wondering, what happens if you have the robot aiming more towards the corner, but just off to the side? Like, are you familiar with the concept of a corner cube?
Let me run it by itself. So I'll manually run it here. And so
Okay.
you're saying,
So like imagine this is the corner right here, right? In my camera. So there's a property of 90-degree corners in light, such that if you shine a light in the corner cube, it's 90 degree. It bounces off and it comes right back at you. And it's that corner cube effect that's how the those highly reflective signs work, right? Because they're just little. No matter what angle the light comes in, because it's a right angle corner, the light comes in, and geometry brings it right back at you. So I'm wondering, if you start to aim and turn the angle more and more towards the corner, does it somehow confuse the time of flight sensors?
no, let's turn it.
But of course, you have an array of time of flight sensors.
Yeah, you can see that where the robot is pointing with the arrow here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess you can. Well, this is like one set of time of flights, and then it switches to the middle set, and then over here it switches to the other side. So it looks like there might be a little aberration right there on the corner. Is that what you're talking about?
Hey, Mark.
Yeah, I was wondering how it might look, because like in maybe in that case, because it would give, like you would expect, because your wall isn't a highly reflective thing, right? It's got specular, so it'll give, I would expect it to give one distance for when the light hits the left wall, and then part of that light will come straight back to the time of flight sensor, and then if the field of view is wide enough, the light will continue bouncing over the other wall and then come straight back. So I think that if you had exactly one time of flight sensor, you might actually get two returns from that single time of flight element because of this effect. And I don't know, maybe that could account for that aberration that you've got, but
yeah, I don't know. I mean, these are pretty fancy sensors, like the 8x8 array, so it does a lot of math inside there.
These are maybe too complex for my question, but.
Hey, Mike, what happens when you move into the corner? Move it into the corner. Does it still work okay?
So you hit the minimum range gate.
Yeah, that's pretty good. You know what I was thinking? Okay, you see how the green line shortens when you get in the corner? That's because the angle of the escape is there.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it works real well. That's kind of the more hard problem is the corners.
Mm-hmm. And I also when I found out that I realized my sensors were 45 degrees instead of 60, I added a 15-degree shim on my side sensors, so now I don't have a big gap.
Yeah.
The sensors. It used to have like a 15, 20-degree gap.
Okay, turn while you're in the corner, turn towards the other goal.
You mean clockwise?
Yeah. Well, it's got enough range to pick up the other side too. That's cool. That really looks nice. Like a really elegant solution.
Yeah, so it's an 8x8 sensor. There's 3 of them. So for this, I'm only using one of the rows. It's the one that's high enough so it doesn't really see the cans as much. So it's like the 4th one, the center one. If I go one higher, then it doesn't see the walls well enough because it's looking above the walls.
Gotcha. Well, that's kind of cool. So this is really, so you're usually using 8x8 by 1? Is that what, am I getting it? They're 8x8 sensors, right?
Yeah, 8x8, but I usually, like for can detection, I pick a lower sensor.
Gotcha.
Sensor down lower, so it sees the can when it gets close and everything. And then for obstacle detection, I do the one above that. And then for the wall detection, I use the one above that. So I use different sensors.
Gotcha. Sounds great.
Hey, Mike, I bet your data is showing the effect possibly of what I'm talking about. So, like right there, yeah, you'll notice because you're aiming to the left wall in that corner, and it's the right wall which has an apparent longer distance.
Right. It's also really unstable over here.
Yeah, and it's really unstable. So I wonder now if you if you shift your robot aim it that way, but you might need to translate the robot more to the right half of the field, and then give a glancing blow down at the same wall on the right hand side.
You mean move it forward?
Yeah. Like you just showed that if you aim it into a left wall and then it might bounce off the right, then it gives that like ringy shot on the right. So now I'm wondering if you get similar angles, but you aim at the right wall and bounce it towards the left, does it ring on the left?
Okay, so basically I'm going the other side.
Yeah. But you might need to get further towards the middle of the field to get good angles and then look back or something. Yeah, now turn clockwise.
Oops, too far. I'm driving by wire here.
Yeah, yep.
Looking at the robot.
Yeah, now if you aim towards the clockwise a little bit to try and aim more at the right wall, do you get that ringing effect on the left? It gets unstable there.
Yeah, you can see right here that the dot here is just moving around a lot.
Yeah. I wonder if that's because of the corner cube effect. That's interesting.
And see how many dots is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so that's one sensor. And so I might, maybe if I tweak the angle of in my calculations, I can line it up better to the other sensor. But I just typed in. Like I 3D printed a really teeny sliver of a wedge, so it's probably not perfect. So yeah.
Could you rotate clockwise again and then aim at that just to the right of the corner on the right wall? Yeah, right about there. A little bit further clockwise.
And it got better. Yeah.
It got better on the right side, but then the top edge, it doesn't have the same ringy, but it's still.
I'm moving it very slowly.
Yeah.
To the left. Right there is crazy.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
I'll bet you got 2 returns. You got the first return from the wall at the top edge, and then it's bouncing off that wall to the wall on the right, and then you're getting a return from there too, I bet.
I'm looking at this and going, why am I selecting, like if there's green here, it means I selected it for my
Your line fit.
my algorithm. So it's like, ooh, why did I select that? I gotta do more testing, but yeah.
But your algorithm will have to, in like that case, doesn't your algorithm have to pick whether it's the horizontal line on top or the vertical line on the right?
Yeah. And so it's so they're pricey sensors. Actually, like $30 each from Polulu, but they seem to work really good. And they give me a lot of stuff that the spinning LiDAR couldn't give me, because I can do this can sensing like up close. Okay, 10 centimeters away, I can grab it. And then it can do obstacle detection, and it can also see all the walls. So it's a pretty versatile sensor.
And do you get like a whole array of results at once, or does it come in?
Oh, it comes in, you basically, in the microcontroller, I wait until all three sensors have come up with their values, and then I read them all. Actually, I wait for each of the three sensors. Like if the data is ready, then I read its sensor, and then if another sensor is ready, I read it, and another sensor is ready, I read it, and then I say, okay, I got all three sensors, and then I'll send the data over to the Raspberry Pi over serial port. And to get this to work really well, I had to basically run I2C at a megahertz. And then because I could, I ran the serial port at 2 megahertz. So, because I noticed at 115, it was just not reading as much as it should have. It took. It reads a lot of data, and then I just pick the stuff I want. I can't control it and say, just read this data. I just read it all, and then it says, okay, I'm interested in this statistic, and this statistic. And then I choose the data points I trust, and I send it over to the Raspberry Pi for further processing.
Very cool.
Yeah. And like over here is like, there's a bathroom door and stuff over here, so it's all kinds of. Oh, there's some cans back there too. So, so it's a little scatter back here. Yeah. So I like my sensors. They're pretty good. I was always going, should I get a rotating LiDAR? It says, nah, not for this project. For outdoor, I might. I probably would, but not for this one right now.
Sweet.
Any other things I can do? Explore? I can run it to the center, I guess.
And you said expensive for $30, but that's a lot less than a spinning LiDAR, isn't it? So.
Well, it took 3 of them, so it's 90.
Right.
Yeah. So now I'm in the center, and I think there's a can over here, so it's getting a little confused. I'm not sure why it's not discarding that one. Then rotate around. That corner is crazy.
Yeah.
It's cardboard, so it's not a perfect corner, but hey. Then if I point straight at a wall, you get a nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see that this sensor's here, and then that one there, and so.
Right.
They're not perfectly aligned, but I could tweak the coefficients, like the angles and stuff. But they're pretty good for what I need to do. Yeah, like I said, I wanted to show with 6CAN, but that new orange color is like, I thought it was doing good, but then the light changed. I didn't like it anymore. So
Once a week.
yeah. All right.
All right. Well, good deal. Gold star. Thanks a bunch. I think next in queue, we have Doug. If you want to try your question on Python, maybe we have enough.
No, I think it's very specific to I think he's going to be, I'll probably do it through the Discord channel.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't think, the code is complicated enough that it's not really, you guys would never, I couldn't even present the problem to you very well. So,
Not just a syntax thing. Okay.
no.
So how is ESP working for you? I mean, are you able to get a simple communication of some sort? Or?
Well, that's what I'm working with. I had, I think, a good piece of example code that I could have had like two of them talking to each other, but I skipped that because I figured that probably would work because I'd just be copying and paste. So what I did is try to set one of them up as a sender. So it's just out there sending this message over and over and over again. And I'm trying to get the little circular display to pick it up. And the problem I'm having is I can't see all these classes, but I don't see any classes that are actually, what do they call the word? Initiated, I guess. It's like all the classes are just defined. And now I think that what's going on is they use the underscore init underscore, and that creates a class. Hey guys, Python is not my language. So I think that's what's going on there. But I can't find the name to grab onto the piece of data that I need to change. And that's my problem. So, everything is in the code is self. So I can't see any place where it's actually classes initiated into an object. And I'm sure it's just my bad knowledge of Python. So, I mean, if I were writing my own code, I would write it in a way that I understood, and I would probably bypass this. But I don't want to lose all of the great work that he has done to, try to redo it. So anyway, that's where we are. I'm trying, if I can figure this out, if I can pass data to it, then I think the rest of that problem is small. And I don't think, the example I've got, he was not ever passing data to to the little wrist thing.
Yep.
He hasn't got his ESP now stuff written. So,
well, when I'm writing Python, if you wanted to access a different class that's out of your module that you're building, that you're coding, you have to import it. Then once
no, I'm not trying to import anything. I mean, all the things I need to import, I've imported.
Oh.
Like the ESP Now library, Wi-Fi library, those are all imported.
Because those are classes, yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, so I have to, if you look at his, okay, so I don't know if you guys can see this. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Right, so let me see if I click on this. Okay, and I got to click mission, then run. So this is all the, I can't get it to focus, but those are all lines of code, like the lines, are things that I want to pass from my robot to here. They're like GPS satellite count, GPS fix, navigation, the target, and the position, and the actual heading, and the robot voltage, and a few other items. So what I'm doing is with my other ESP is creating, I guess you'd call it a simulator. Otherwise, it's sending messages. Okay. So now I got to figure out how to hook into those messages into here. And I can't seem to find, I can see where the lines are defined, but I can't, if I look at it, the class is just self. So I don't, otherwise I can probably get the dot part, where it's something like your class dot, your object dot, and then the property or the method. Well, in my case, it'd be properties. So I got the properties. I just can't figure out where the object name is. And I suspect it has to do with the underscore, int, underscore, which I think is defining, otherwise, like if you call it Bob's class, I think if you go underscore, int, underscore, you automatically create a class called Bob's class. An object that's called Bob's class. But I'm not sure, like I said, I'm not knowledgeable enough in it to figure out what's exactly going. So, I don't know. I was hoping he'd be on and I could, maybe, because I'm sure he can look at it and say, oh, well, let me just use this word, like something like Bob's Rover, and then you just put it in and everything will flow. But I just haven't figured that out yet. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty neophyte also, so.
Yeah. It's just not the language that I concentrated on. Most of the times, when I've used it, it's with the AI stuff, but a lot of AI stuff is not a lot of what I call programming. It's more like copy and paste, because they give you the lines that'll make it work. If you don't do that, it ain't going to work. So it's not true programming. It's more of, like I say, copy and pasting examples together. But this one is, somebody's project, and it's not clear to me how he did this, because I don't have the knowledge. So I'm going to work it out, because what I want to do is have my little simulator simulate all the data that he has on his screen and be passing it over. And then when I get that, then obviously I can put that one on my robot and code it to actual, to pick up actual messages. So we'll see. That's all I had, Carl. Boy, this is a quiet group.
Yeah, thanks. You can blaze the trails for us, Doug. I wish we had better information, but we're behind you all the way.
Well, if I can figure all of this out, then when a person creates their own project, they understand exactly how it all works. But that doesn't mean that somebody following behind them knows all exactly how they thought it out. So, but once that second person goes through and says, okay, I'm going to add to the documentation, because his thing is going to, you do this, and then you do this, and you do this, then we should all be having little what are the chick magnets? Because this is actually not a very expensive project. And anyway.
Yeah, well, I've been working with Ross, and all of my modules I've been building are Python, but I'm using their construct, so everything just works.
Yeah. Well, what I'd like to see, Mike, is one of these days, I'd like to see you give us a presentation in detail with code and everything on how you got those 4x8, those 8x8s to work, because those are really pretty complicated sensors.
Yeah.
Even Ad-hoc, right? I mean,
I'd struggle to get one to work, I think. Just the fact that they all have the same I2C address is a pain. So, I mean, how you worked around that problem, that's kind of nice.
Yeah. Well, in Ross also, all I know how to do is subscribe topics and publish them. I tried to use like commands over Ross, but then to do that, you have to use async coding in Python, and somehow I just can't make it click. Even looking at all the examples.
Well, that's like the stuff I'm doing with ESP now. It's all async.
Oh, it's async? Oh, gosh.
Well, they have libraries to handle it, so it's not that big a deal.
But I couldn't get it to work. So, but it's probably just because I gave up too soon.
Let's see, Joe. There was another thing talking about, the I2C. Where you have the same address and you can't change it. There's a couple of ways people do it. One, people use an I2C address multiplexer. That's one way. And then the other way is they start one, get it going, shut something down, start another one. That's probably how you did it, Mike, isn't it? You get one of them going and you stop. The other two are stopped, and then you.
Yeah, there's a reset line that you can say, okay. Disable all of them except for one and program this I2C.
Yeah.
Another.
Well, Adafruit just came out with a new part, and I'll put a link in. I just saw it today, where think of it as an input-output. So your I2C bus is shooting it to some different address, and the one inside, which is always the same, is getting switched from what it is to this new address. And I want to say they were about $10, but I'll put the link in it. I just saw it in the new. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I was looking at their multiplexers or something.
Yeah. Well, they did say that sometimes that's the better solution, but not always.
Pat, that's fine. I was wondering. So Doug, you just stole Pat's thunder.
Nope.
I think, Doug, you and Pat found the same device at the same time, but
yeah, I watched that video too, and it is pretty cool. It is pretty cool for switching those things.
Yeah, what's nice about it is a multiplexer slows down your I2C traffic quite a bit, switching over to the other channel and talking, and, requesting the info from the device. Whereas this, the address remapper that Adafruit has is pretty much seamless. It just works in line and it's transparent to the device.
Is that what they call it, a mapper?
so links.
I think.
Yeah, if you go to the Adafruit homepage, I bet it's and click on the little new thing on the section on the side. I bet it shows up there.
Yeah.
All right.
From my understanding, I don't think it's something new. I think it's something they've had, and they just put it in the news.
Well, that may be true.
That says 4.2. I don't know. Anyway, it could be.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I tried to find out if it was a brand new device or if it was something that's existing, because the chip they use has existed for quite a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that 8x8 LiDAR that Mike was using, I think it was, to do your deals. That is one of these cases where you can use it or not. There's some of them I2C devices where you can change the address, but you have to do it in firmware. You can't do it with the hardware code. And so you have to use a chip select and then put them to sleep, then send them a message. They're not really asleep, but you'll send them a message, change the address, then tell them to wake up again. And I think John does some of that on some of his things. What he's doing to get multiple of those 8x8s in a row of deals. And I'm like, that's a mess. And I don't know if I want to deal with that or not. So,
Well, yeah, I worked with that a little bit when they were when they first came out, when they were just a single spad, where they're not 8x8, but just one, plump. And I found them to be a big pain in the butt. That's why I kind of went away from them. I went to.
I agree with you, Doug. I tried that as well, where you would drag a line, put a level converter and drag a line low and try to give it a new address, and it was hit and miss.
Yeah. Now, along this, because just people want to know it, Rovo, I think it's Rovo Realm C1 LiDAR, the rotating LiDAR, which is a time of flight LiDAR. They're selling it for $60 somewhere at DF Robot, I believe.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's another. I actually have a C1, but I haven't put it to use yet. I was looking for it and see if it would have any advantages out on the outside. But I'm probably going to go with the Bennywick TOS.
So you're thinking it might be useful if I come up with a presentation, documentation?
Yeah. There's a lot of people who have looked at those sensors and kind of went, and you've made it work very nicely. And I think that would be really useful. I'd like to, even if it was I think it would make a good subject for a monthly meeting. But I don't know, Paul's not here, so I can't speak for him. But that where you actually spent 30 or 40 minutes and really went into it. So, but anyway, that's my opinion. Because, like I say, I think it's a really successful project, just getting those guys to work. Yeah.
So I would bet there's a whole range. If you wanted to do a full-on, super fancy monthly presentation, or just kind of an ad hoc walk through the code some Tuesday night, I bet either way would be appreciated.
It'd be nice if you could actually publish the code. That would help. But I don't know if you want to make it open source. You might want to hold off to that until after the competition. But I think if you are open to making it open source, that would really be beautiful.
Yeah, because I guess there's two parts to it. One is collecting the data from the sensors and then streaming it over to the Raspberry Pi.
Right, and analyzing.
And the other one is in Ross taking that serial data and using it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be cool too. I mean, you might want to stop. That sounds like maybe too much for you to do in one presentation. That's probably two.
But just the microcontroller, it's pretty small. It's not a lot of code, so.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's even better.
Yeah.
So cool. So, what microprocessor are you using, Mike?
RP2040, otherwise called iPico.
Yeah, I got it. That's good. That's a good. It's a double MO, I think.
Yeah, I'm only using one of the cores. I'm trying to figure out how can I use both cores. haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah. Let's see. Hey, Kareem, I saw somewhere in the Discord that you're starting to kick the tires off of that old robot that you guys bought from the Army surplus place up in Oklahoma. Las Vegas. How's that coming along?
Really just starting on it. So just took it apart to get a good look at the boards and see if everything looked okay, and they seem to be okay just from a visual inspection. And then I powered it up, and there's no documentation on what a normal boot sequence is like. There's an operations manual that I found, and so I wasn't even sure that that it was right, but it made a nice little chirp, and it started blinking an LED, the status LED every second, and no angry sounds, no blue smoke or anything like that. So, you know,
The LED didn't
starting to
speed
look,
up, did it?
huh?
The LED didn't start speeding up, did it?
Yeah, no, it was. It looks fine, and then I managed to get a connection to the serial port on it. I don't understand the serial protocol terribly well yet, but I did manage to find sort of a initialization sequence in the manual, and so you just send these 3 short packets, and it responded with what it thought its name was, and with the model and the model of the robot. So that's good. That's telling me that the microcontroller on board. Basically, it's got a microcontroller that's called Arcos or something like that, and I can't find any information on that. But you know, I'm able to talk to it with a PC over serial, and so that's promising. And so the next step is going to be to get the API figured out on a host computer.
Do you have the API on your, or the message? Do you have it in the operation manual?
So the operation manual specifies in rough detail what the major messages are, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you basically the microcontroller that's built in some custom unit, but it knows how to do basic things like talk to the sonar arrays, talk to the motor driver, that kind of stuff. It does its own sort of calculation from the encoders on where the robot has driven. Supposedly, this is all stuff that's not tested. It's just from reading the manual.
Yeah.
That you can combine. It also has an option for an onboard IMU, although my unit doesn't seem to have it. So it has some ability to integrate different sensors to do some correction, but exactly how that operates, I'm not sure. But it seems like most of the almost all of the usage of it that I've been able to find, there's usually an onboard PC that does the heavy lifting, and so you might be able to ask it to go to in a certain direction at a certain speed for a certain amount of time, just from the microcontroller, and it'll be sending back updates on where it thinks it is, but then you would probably correct it from the your onboard PC, and after integrating other sensors, that kind of stuff. So exactly how that works. So there's a C API called ARIA, and that's still available. And I have a document that's listed in the thread I created for it. So you can read in there. I mean, it's pretty basic, but you can read in there. It's got links to all of the resources that I've found so far, which is not enough, but it's a start. So it doesn't look like it'll be like full on reverse engineering, and sort of sniffing the protocol stream, that kind of stuff. It should be a little bit easier than that.
So at the worst, it's like a Roomba, where you have a serial port where you listen to get data from it. Yep.
Okay. And hopefully I haven't tested the sonar sensors yet. It's got 2 arrays of 4 sonars in each one. Sorry, 8. No, wait, 6 or 8. I don't remember. I'd have to count them.
Yeah.
It might be 6. I think it's 6. Forward and backwards. So should be some pretty rich data there, and I'm planning on putting a camera on it and all of the goodies, and getting in my RTK GPS system on there as well.
Whoa, okay, all right. Yeah. Well, so that sounds like a definite November contender.
Should be. Hopefully, yeah.
Okay, that's neat. You guys going in November? And Steve said he's going to be there in November. We're going to have a lot of runners this time, I think. Yeah. How about you, Pat? Are you going to be able to do it remotely?
I am frantically trying to debug some code and to get ready to go. I'm about ready for a rewire. But I'm doing my best.
Okay. And Ted, you too?
Yeah, I'm planning to be there in person.
Oh, hot dang. That's great. Fantastic. Yeah. 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 That sounds like it's going to be a good run, I think, if we can all manage to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And Mike, didn't you say you were going to try? I heard you say something about being there in November.
I'll be there. Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to have enough.
Mike, you can do it.
Doug, are you asking about the November one or are you asking about the June one?
November.
November, November, I want to be there in person as well.
Oh, okay. Great.
Awesome.
Fantastic. That'd be great.
So we are trying. Depends on my schedule. Like the last job I did in Louisiana comes up like 2-3 weeks before.
Okay.
And we'll see how the year goes, and hopefully it's good. I know I am planning. I got a trip in Mississippi in June, and I'm going to try to turn it into a vacation and bring my wife and dog.
Gotcha. Now the June competition, June 1st competition.
That's the one I'm scrambling.
Yeah. So some of you guys were going to meet. I thought you guys were going to meet at Tom's place.
That's what we're trying for.
Okay, because you don't have to do it on the first. No.
Well, we're going to try to do it the day of. So we're going to compete with you guys that day.
Okay, gotcha. Sounds good. Yeah, it sounded like John or Jan would. How does he say his name? How do you say Jon?
I believe it's John.
John, like John, right? Okay,
Yes.
So John, I want to say he mentioned he might want to be with you guys. Nope, didn't happen.
No, he's changed his plan. He can only do one commitment to one contest, and he's decided to go. I think it's with Robo Magellan.
Oh, I don't blame him. Yeah. Well, once I get a proof of, I have actually get some points up on the board on with my Robo Columbus, I'm definitely going to Robo Magellan because my son's out there. So it's just the easy one. But unfortunately, they do theirs before we do ours. So that just shortens the deadline, and I don't want to do that.
So I can think of something.
I'm building a new robot.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm building a new robot for the Robo Columbus.
Yeah.
So as I said the other day, I'm going to try to exercise as much wood as possible, 65 pounds, 10-inch wheels. I'm not worried about the horse apples. I'm crushing the horse apples.
Well, I don't know if you saw it, but there was a message on DPRG list that said, Steve said that horse apples are not a concern anymore. I think he went the way of the Great North and got out his chainsaw and so.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think about pondering what kind of chassis I want for Magellan.
Yeah, that is.
So hopefully I can have that figured out and maybe get it in time and maybe drive it manually or something.
Yeah, everybody has managed to do it with all different types of chassis, but I still think the easiest way to do it is tank steer.
Yeah, I sort of want to copy John's, but then I'm copying John's.
Well,
yeah,
I had a similar one made out of a basher, not a a rock crawler, but a basher. And I managed to get 6 points with it. And then I decided to do something different, and I haven't able to got it ever back up on there again. So I'm going to have to do that. Anyway, the problem with if you're going to do it like John's doing it, you got to keep the weight down. You really, you know how you were built with all that good stuff that you built on your own robot, keep the weight down? That's the same sort of discipline you got to have, because the suspensions on those RC cars, even when you beef up the springs and do all sorts of stuff, they just don't like the weight.
Yeah, they're just not made to have 10, 15 pounds on them.
No. Yeah.
So pondering to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I say go big. Build for 65 pounds. Never mind
Yeah.
6 pounds.
I think that's what Steve's doing. He's got a
wheelchair base.
Yeah, wheelchair base. I mean,
And then just put a snow plow on the front to push anything in your way over.
yeah,
Well, that's part of the reasoning for the bigger frame, is to handle some outdoor stuff as well.
That's what I was going to suggest. If you just make it heavy enough, it just crushes, right?
yeah. Well,
Acts on the tires.
Isn't there some sort of weight or size limit? Because I've got an RV I can pull into play.
You got a whole construction thing you could wire up and move around and just smash the car.
yeah.
I think the weight limit is for the robots themselves, not for the obstacles that the judges may bring and scatter around and avoid.
Some of the folks in the Ottawa group participate in an autonomous robotic snowplow competition. Perhaps I should advise them to enter.
So Pat, is the limit 65 pounds? I thought it was 50, but
I believe the limit is 65 pounds, and it's 46 by 46 by 60, I think. 46 inches by 46 inches by 60 inches tall.
What were we thinking?
So what I want to know is, can I put a diesel engine on it?
As long as
I don't know. Can you?
Yeah, I think that's the question. Can you?
I don't know.
I have faith in Pat. Pat can do it.
Yeah, some of the contests like Robo Magellan don't allow you to put gas motors on it. I don't know if ours does or not, but there is a restriction. You can't damage the course, and you can't be unsafe. So
You have to be able to fill the engine remotely.
yeah.
But would the site host give you brownie points if you mowed the yard along the way?
But you
can't burn the grass.
Okay.
Can't burn the grass. So is anyone say anything against the tunnel boring machine?
there you go.
I'm not hearing anything about that, and I'm not hearing anything about like dropping a little diesel on the anthills either. So
yeah. Okay.
No, the plan is just batteries and wood and big wheels and.
Yeah, I've always thought, I know I've seen one of these. I think it was at Shybots, where they used 20, the bicycle 20-inch wheels, and they made a platform. So it was, it was 10 feet up, 10 inches up, in this 20-inch diameter tires is 10 inches up off the ground. And it didn't look like it weighed that much. But, and you can get that sort of stuff by going to Goodwill. They sell old bicycles cheap.
I was looking at using something like that. I was looking at using like a 12-inch or 13-inch child bike tire.
Yeah.
On for wheels, for specifically that, to give you some height and they're lightweight.
Yeah.
The problem I have is I can't find four the same anywhere. Like you say, you try Goodwill, you try Kijiji, you try whatever you
can right? They got front and rear. Just get two.
Two the same. But then the other thing is they're not cheap. You got to buy a whole bike to get it.
what about it?
Well, the bikes I've seen at Goodwill are like $12. So
not up in Canada, at least not where I am.
okay, because I mean
Nothing.
I could see where you could do some welding. You know what I mean? Take the other parts of the bike and weld, because you know they got the steering. They have the steering columns where it's already got all the ball bearings in them and everything, and so they could swivel.
What about a 50s or 60s baby carriage front, right? I mean, you got four wheels that match, right? Some kind of suspension.
And then
I had
put
one of those.
weight in it.
I'd sell it for like $500 or $600.
Yeah,
Never mind
fun.
turning it into a robot.
Okay.
Just take a bicycle, electric bicycle, and add training wheels.
Yeah. That might be too top heavy. Okay.
We're down to about $1,500 now.
Yeah.
You can get two sets of training wheels. There's your match set.
Yeah. Well, Pat, we'll never match the two 2x4s and a piece of plywood. You know. But anyway.
I've got a frame. I've got a frame mocked up right now. It's out of 3/8 and 3/4 inch plywood.
Yeah. So you should always challenge yourself, though. Why do you need the 3/8 inch plywood? Could you go with 1/4 inch? Or could you go with like underlayment?
No,
You know, just whatever, keep the weight down, you know.
Well, I need something that'll hold a battery that's big enough to power 4 hover wheel motors.
See, you just start with a log and make a dugout like the canoe. Just, I mean, if it's going to be wood, make it be wood.
Yeah, the red
How
oak.
big is your 3D printer? You should be printing wheels.
Yeah. Yeah.
I tried printing wheels. They keep coming out like squares.
Yeah. Getting good wheels, you know, you've all seen Scott's robot. You know, the wheels he had on there were like $80 a piece, and you can't get them anymore. You know, so wheels can be really expensive.
Hover wheels.
Yeah. So, anyway.
Well, if you're going to go with wood, the wheels should be wood too.
Yeah. And who
Get
needs
some
spokes? It should be just
cable reels.
Wagon wheels.
yeah.
Yeah, wagon.
Cable reels. The ends are made out of wood. They're circular.
Perhaps I can ask a LiDAR question.
Okay.
I've just discovered that the Nito vacuum cleaner company has just declared bankruptcy. And of course, they were number 2 in producing those robotic vacuums.
Mhm.
And coincidentally, I've noticed up here on Kijiji, an awful lot of Nito vacuum cleaners are coming up for sale, really cheap or free. And they have LiDARs on board. And I'm just wondering if anyone has actually, in this group, has actually used any of the Nito LiDARs. I know
I've used them for demos
online, but
yeah, I've used them for demos, but I've never used them on a robot. And I actually have a RoboPeak that's very similar. And I would say that the new ones like the C1 are so much nicer than those that I would not spend money on the older technology. You know, I would just get a C1.
so you figure it might be a lot of work to actually utilize it.
If the old robots are
Yeah,
$20.
well, I mean, you can get them to demo real easy. You know, there's programs out on the web that you can get them to demo. And they're not, you know, hey, they you know, not that many years ago, that was all you could get. So, but nowadays, I would probably get a RoboPeak C1 if you're going for the lowest price. You know, they have other ones that are more expensive that, you know, are really super fast, and have good outdoor range, by the way. But, you know, I don't know if and in the fall, even in the fall at Texas, they'd probably be fine.
When I saw 3 of the Nito vacuums come up in the course of a couple of weeks for nothing, I was
would
tempted
grab
to try and
those.
pick them. The trouble is the free ones are gone in a day. So,
Yeah, the free ones, you know, if you can get them for free, I'd say go for it. But I wouldn't spend a lot of money on that. Otherwise, if you ended up with 5 of them and they cost you $50, I would rather have one $60 C1. That's my personal opinion. you know. But
Well, I'm not there yet anyway, so not too
Yeah.
concerned about it. Just
Yeah.
as an aside, Pat, if you're still looking for a place to look at the solar eclipse next week, and you want to try my backyard, by all means, let me know. Just contact me offline. The trouble is, I understand that you've seen my place, so you know about the trees on the hill towards the south. And the angle that the sun will form with the horizontal is around 45 or 50 degrees during the eclipse. So it may not actually be visible from my house. But you're welcome to come and try if you want.
I'm not holding my breath right now. They're calling for a partly cloudy day, and the weather for the following day is rain.
Okay.
I believe the same holds true for the DFW area too. So
we can all hope.
Yeah, there's 3 days of rain, and the 8th falls right in the middle of those 3 days. Yeah.
yeah, I understand. I understand there is a flight. You can book a flight that goes from like, I don't know, way south and follows the track of this thing as it flies up. And so you can sit there and watch it the whole time if the plane is supposed to be in a way to be able to see it. I imagine it's going to be a pretty lopsided plane.
Not if it's the window seat I had last time with no window.
Oh, there
They
you
can
go.
just strap you to the wing, in a lounge chair. You get a good view.
Well, not everybody is as intense as you are, Kareem. That's just all it is. Wind blowing in the locks of your hair.
Mhm.
I could see that happening.
There was a day with lawn chairs on the wings of airplanes, but maybe that was 100 years ago.
Yeah.
There was a day when I had hair. I mean,
Well, Pat, hopefully I can have something that will succeed in a 6-can competition by the time we hold it. My taxes are done and some traveling's over with, so hopefully I can get back to work on it now.
Yeah, I still have taxes to do. With hopefully, I'm in good shape there. I just did a calculation, and I thought I'd have to pay this year, and it might go the other way. I think so. I'm happy. And robots. So my April is pretty much mostly working from home. But my May and June both involve 2 weeks away.
Are robots, are they charitable deductions?
Mine is I've got it as a dependent.
Oh.
well, there's also, you get, depending upon your tax status, you get to write off educational stuff, right? And I'm saying, I bet everybody's learned something one way, or maybe the only thing you learned is how to cuss, but you did learn something working on things.
Our tax rules are a little different in Canada.
Yeah. I've learned a couple dozen different ways not to do this so far.
Hey, Ray, you're awful quiet. Are you there?
We haven't even heard his turn signal since the very start.
He must have snoozed.
Nope, I'm here.
Everything okay?
Hi, Ray.
Oh, yeah, had to deal with a situation with my mom. She had a stroke, so
Oh, man.
Oh no!
had to go to Florida, and she, tough old bird. She was, I think, almost dead, and now she can, with assistance, she can at least walk around and stuff, but
Still bad time.
Yeah, so she's got, a pretty long recovery, and she's doing physical therapy, occupational therapy, and so anyway.
Well, it's good that you can be there with her. That's, I'm sure, really nice.
Yep. Anyway. Yeah, she's not doing too bad for 94. Well, 93. She'll be 94 next week.
Cool. It's awesome.
So, don't know if I'll get those longevity genes or not. Hard to say. Well, thank you.
I was just looking at my pictures I took the last time there was a solar eclipse, back in 2017. Anybody else see that one?
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah. My wife and I were touring the West Coast and Alaska and the Yukon that summer, and we didn't even know it was going to happen until we're sitting having breakfast at a B&B on Salt Spring Island and realized something was different. So we MacGyvered a viewer so that we could actually see it out of some pizza boxes and a pair of binoculars and a camera tripod. It blew away the host of the bed and breakfast we were staying on. But we got some good pictures off the cardboard. Since it's quiet here, I'll show you my... Where's the present? I'll show you my MacGyvered gadget here, if I can. There it is. Just for the heck of it. I assume you can see that now. That happens to be the hosts of the B&B we were at. We got very involved in building this thing. And my wife has a big pair of bird watching binoculars that we turned backwards and shielded with a pizza box. Stuck the binoculars on the camera tripod with rubber bands. And my God, it worked out really, really well.
That's great.
Anyway, it was fun.
Pretty cool. Well,
Yeah, I'm binoculars. Maybe I can find a pizza box. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to order a pizza on Sunday.
Nobody's supposed to talk about robot things. I can talk briefly about a robot. I don't even know what you'd call it. It's some leather armor my wife made to hang the robot on my back. If you're interested,
Accessory, put it up. We're in the mode of accessorizing here. Just look at the style in this group. This is
the leather, and it kind of goes over my chest. And right here is a plate that the robot has hooks, and it will hook on there. The trick is finding somebody to be my assistant to pick it up and pull it down. My wife has trouble with her wrist right now. The robot weighs 25 pounds, so I'm going to have to work on how I'm going to get it on and off. But I was pretty pleased with the leather armor she made. She just kind of cut and punched and riveted, and poof, there we go. I got a winner.
That'll be nice.
Doug, out of all the robots I've seen, yours is the best one I've ever seen because of the wood and the use of the wood in building that robot.
Well, thanks. It's been very frustrating getting it darn thing to work. I had all kinds of intentions of things it was going to do, and I'm now satisfied that I can make it go forwards, backwards, turn left and right, and stop. So it's basically a funny looking RC car at this point, but at least it works. I've been promising people for 2 years that I was going to show up with a robot on my back this time, so I had to come true. There'll be video afterwards. My wife has promised to take some. That's all I had.
So no smoke recently, Doug?
No, actually, you were being funny about that, but I haven't smoked any parts, and I was thinking about, but I didn't want to break anything at the last minute, so I decided not to try to implement some sort of steam thing. You know, the vape pens are supposedly pretty easy to modify, and if I could get a smoke or a vape sauce, whatever they call their stuff, that is nicotine free and basically smoky water, I was going to make a steam thing coming out of my robot and
I thought about making it come out the back of the robot, but the wife vetoed that. But I decided not to. I didn't even put LEDs on it. I was going to put some LEDs for power and distance measuring and stuff. I didn't even want to change anything with that. The thing has broke so many times. I wanted it to be working at the time I go, which is this weekend.
Whoa.
So I'm not making any changes. I'm staying with what I got. It goes forwards, backwards, and turns.
Great. Good plan. Yeah.
So video next week.
Supposedly. My wife
Cool.
says she will take pictures if she's not laying on the floor laughing.
Well, that sounds like a big if right there. That's
No, I know. But she has some investment in it too. She did all this work for the leather carrier armor, so she got to stand by me and everything. She's gonna want it to work.
So now you just got to find a squire to help you.
Right. We're going with another couple, and I'm hoping maybe the male part of that couple will have the strength to lift it. He's getting more frail than he used to be, and I may not be able to depend on him. But he carried a rock around for me today. We found a nice rock when we were out last weekend. Something called lanite that you can only find around Llano. And so we picked up a big hunk. We're going to buy a saw and cut it up and see what's inside. Too many hobbies, not enough time.
Oh man, it was so much fun. That's so cool.
So I'm basically at the point now, I'm just putting things in a pile so I can be sure and take everything. I just know I'm going to forget that darn Allen wrench and the wheels keep falling off. I won't be able to put it back on.
Just one more tool. It always comes down to that.
Make sure you take your battery charger too.
Yeah, I got the charger and 2 batteries. I thought I had a third one, but I can't find it.
And the cables that hook them up.
Yeah. I've got the thing wired so that I can replace one battery and the other one's in there, so they're kind of in parallel. So I don't have to shut it down while I'm changing batteries. But I don't know how much it's actually going to run because it's, it doesn't have its object detection sensors working or anything. So it's strictly me driving it. I don't want to run people over. I'll probably run it for effect a few times and then just leave it.
And it'll still look cool.
Oh. I've been waiting for Paul to show up because I missed how you broke your dog last time. I came in late. Did you drop it or what? You're muted.
It jumped off the table.
Were you showing it and it demoed right off the table?
I think it knocked his microphone on mute.
Oh.
Paul. Your microphone.
We can't hear you, Paul. There you go.
Okay. All right. Let me share my Facebook post on it. Because I don't know if audio will come through, but let's see, how do I get to there? We go. There we go. Let's see.
Hey, there's your robo dog just came in.
Okay, and let me share that. Is audio coming through?
Not at this point.
Okay. So I was demoing Robo Dog fly doing the Superman pose. And then doing his push-ups.
Getting close to the edge.
Notice his left rear leg is almost off the edge of the desk. And then I just nudge him a bit.
When he was in free fall, did he do his Superman pose?
Yeah, I hadn't gotten mine out of the box yet, but I'm planning on working on him later in the month if I'm lucky.
It was sad but funny.
Yeah. Is it fixable?
Yeah, I took the tail servo off and put it on the neck. So now he doesn't have a tail, but at least he can walk.
Well, okay.
For the tail servo, though, you just need any 9-gram servo. I mean, you can buy one off for a couple of bucks. So you can have your tail back, Paul.
Yeah, you're right. Stuff takes so long to ship. Hey, did you guys talk about the new class in Roborama for non-wheeled Elton Quick Trip?
No, we didn't mention that. That's a good point.
Yeah. So some discussion came up on the Discord chat server, and decided, and it was pretty much decided, and Doug updated the website and everything to say that, hey, we're going to have a non-wheeled quick trip contest. This Roborama. So, quick trip is out and back, like goes out, I don't know, 8 feet, 10 feet, something or other, turns around, comes back, or maybe it comes back backwards. So who knows? And we since time is a determining factor in who comes first, second, third, we thought it was fair to make a separate class for non-wheeled vehicles. So I think John was interested in doing it with his I forget what he called it, Roz, his quadruped, and I'm going to prepare Pie Dog to do it, and then we'll see who else comes up with a legged robot or some other non-wheeled robot to do quick trip.
Like a hovercraft.
Non-wheeled.
Ooh.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get the Vorpal up and running, the Vorpal hexapod.
Ooh, yeah, I'd love to see that day, Doug. I hope it doesn't stomp on my Pie Dog.
Do WEGs count as wheels?
Wigs?
WEGs.
Oh, yeah, those funny flipper-shaped things. I don't know. Doug's the master of rules. I would defer to him on that.
Oh, I'd love to see it. Put it in there.
I'd go for forgiveness instead of permission. I mean, it just says no wheels. I'd go for it.
Yeah.
Yep.
What if you had like a catapult butt robot that it would catapult itself and then kind of turn around and catapult itself back?
Leapfrog. All right.
Yeah.
No wheels.
Oh, that'd work.
Yeah.
How about, hey, Harold, what about the, I guess that's got wheels. I was going to say the Moon Rover one.
Yeah, that's got wheels.
Wheels got wheels.
What does there and back again mean? Does every part of the robot have to cross the line?
Center.
Okay, there's a whole set of rules there. You get a maximum points. Time only comes into play when you've got two people at max points. So you got, essentially, you have a lane with two ends. And on the ends are cut up into thirds. So that, like, if you get your robot into the center of the box that's on the end, you get more points than if you just get into the box. And you can't leave you have to stay in the lane, going and coming back to get the point for going and coming back. Otherwise, there's 2 points, one for going and one for coming back. So a person who's like using a camera to follow the line along the edge, they have to have it. They can't walk the line because that would be outside of the lane. But they can follow the line if they look to the left and just stay to the left. Does that make sense? So it's very flexible. You know, Will won it one year just by having a wind up robot. He wound it up, put it on the ground, and the spring ran out when he was in the other zone. And then I don't know how he had it. Anyway, ended up coming back. I can't remember exactly how it worked, but it was all mechanical, no electrical power at all.
So a yo-yo?
That's maybe more credible. I was just thinking of having programmable.
Wait, a yo-yo would be considered wheeled.
Yeah, probably.
Why does it have to be square? Round. You could use a square shaft. I guess who says a wheel's round? All right.
Mm-hmm.
Boomerang bot.
As pointed out, a drone is non-wheeled.
Yeah, but I don't think I'm sure it doesn't say it, but we don't really want people flying around inside there with, high-speed propellers. Yeah, there it is. So can you go down and see what the points? So one point, there it is, right there. And that's what you get points for. So
you can
open
zoom
it up.
in on that a bit.
Yeah. Can you make it bigger? Yeah. So reach the opposing end zone, stop in the opposing end zone, have the center of the robot within the 6-inch marked area in the end zone, return to the starting zone, stop in the zone.
Center of the robot in which axis?
Actually, I believe it said what it was trying to get was the centroid of the robot.
Yeah.
Is inside of the line. Or I think we allowed somewhere else where it says you'd have to be, I'm not sure, I haven't read these in a while, but I think if you're on the line with the center, you're still considered good.
But Doug, the center of footprint or the center of mass? So, a robot just has a really long pole.
Exactly. I love linear slides.
You guys are going to force me to rewrite the rules, I can tell you. No, actually, it's pretty open class. Anything you can, I'd love to see anybody do any of that crap.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's pretty open class, but especially now that we have a non-wheeled class. I think that was a great idea.
Yeah.
Agreed. When are we set to do this?
June 1st.
Roborama.
June 1st.
So Roborama is.
I bet a dog could do that too. We're going to have one pie dog for sure, Doug.
Yep.
How about?
I'm going to be out of town June 1st.
Oh, okay. Dang it.
So how well does odometry work on a dog?
Not well.
That's kind of up to you.
Yeah, that's what you have to decide. You can obviously do.
It has an IMU.
Yeah. Well, IMU is not going to tell you position. It'll tell you, it'll tell you orientation, but, number of steps. I don't know. Camera.
I'll have to drag a little wheel behind it.
Yeah, a little camera.
Yeah.
Camera looking down at when it sees the line.
Yeah, John was talking about using visual odometry.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you could use audio beacons, right? You could just whistle like it's a sheepdog as it gets closer.
You could use one of those Pimoroni sensors for, the downward facing sensors.
Yeah.
Optical flow.
Yeah, optical flow sensors.
Oh. Yeah.
Again, I'm not sure. Can that give you distance? I guess it could.
Well, it gives you delta per frame it takes, and it'll run at like 240 frames a second or some crazy thing like that.
That'd be interesting.
That's that much data, and it gives you X and Y differentials as it sees. Now I've got one on HugoBot, but I've yet to actually do anything substantial like actually measure a distance that I've traveled.
I believe it can give you pose as well, can it not?
I think yes, Pat. I think it can give you pose, but
Some of them.
But I don't think you can get this. Well, Harold said.
Yeah, you can poll it as well. But the thing is, it's going to give you the thing it gives you back is non-unit specific clicks. So clicks in the X and Y. It's up to you to figure out what a click means. And they've got two kind of sensors. One of them's a short throw, which is good for about an inch to about an inch and a half, down to like half inch. And you got another one it's got to be like 30 centimeters tall, 40 centimeters tall before it's effective. Those are made for like flying drones and the whatnots. This other, the one where I was talking about, I think we could thank Murray for talking to Pimoroni. So we have a little DPRG-ism going on that sensor for them creating it.
Well, yeah, like I say.
Does it give you heading?
No, just XY deltas.
You could use a compass on an IMU.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. PyDog just has a 6-axis IMU, so I was thinking about placing it with a 9-axis IMU, so I got a magnetometer to tell him what direction he's going in.
You get two of those Pimoronis and you get separated horizontally, you get rotation.
So what's the floor made out of in the Maker building? Concrete?
It's vinyl with a pattern on it.
Reinforcing rod in the concrete?
What?
Oh,
the magnetometer might be fun there.
Isn't the robot dog made up completely out of metal?
Yes. Yep. But it's aluminum.
No wood.
Wood and glue.
You can replace the tie wrap on the tail and make it wood. Use a toothpick. I was thinking of using on the hexapod. The main thing would be to keep it from making arcs. You want it to try to go straight. So I'm going to put an IMU on that. But distance, I'm still thinking about that. It might just be, since all you're doing is trying to go straight, it might be go forward 27 steps or something. Well, I don't know.
So, Doug, do you want to announce this to the list, or would you like me to announce it to the list that we're adding a class for Quick Trip?
Go ahead. I'll let you. Yeah, Paul. That's fine. I think that'd be a good way. Or just put it. I think it's in the Discord, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in the Discord, but I'm trying to cover as many bases as.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, I'll send that out probably tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
As far as that timing thing, I mean that's what Jimbot did last year. I got a little lucky on the non-slippage of my wheels and some timing, and went fast, faster than anybody else. So it worked pretty good. I mean, but Jimbot's about as blind, deaf, and dumb as a robot can get, literally.
Mm-hmm.
So I got someone else to share. I don't think you guys have probably seen it, but remember John Gautier was, attended these sessions quite a bit, and he sent me he posted a video on the Discord of his Halloween crazy eyes. Shall I share that?
Go for it.
I got something I can set up too. We're just messing around.
Are y'all seeing Halloween robot here?
Yep.
And again, I don't know if sound will come through, but it makes them. Oh, it didn't play sound on my speakers, so I guess it probably didn't come through. Anyway, that was pretty fun.
There's a hovercraft robot.
It's a hovercraft.
I could run that on a there and back.
Yeah.
This might be very hard to control.
That would be a challenge. That would be a challenge, Pat. I mean, Tom. Sorry.
All momentum and no friction. I love it as a challenge. It'd be great.
Yeah. That would fit right into the concept of let's go beyond wheels.
Well, I will tell you I've received two hard parts. One, to actually make it go straight. Okay, cool. The other is there's a requirement in the rules, if I remember correctly, that you have to come to a complete stop in the other end. So I've got a hovercraft, no friction. Come to a complete stop. Carl with his hovercraft mode computer, and you got the controls and everything to try to stop that thing. And once it's moving, it's really hard to get it stopped again.
Yeah, you just turn off the blowers.
That works.
Blowers.
That works. Okay,
That brakes.
Well, we fixed one problem already. So there you go. Halfway there.
And Pat, you're still here. If you're looking for bigger wheels, look for a couple of these. These are nothing but wheels.
Tom, you've got some pretty fun toys hanging around there.
There's a reason I keep all kinds of junk around.
I keep throwing all that stuff away.
Yes, I'm fortunate to have a large workshop. I can afford not to throw them away.
Nice.
When Tractor Supply had a clearance a couple of years ago, and I went in and I bought some 10-inch pneumatic wheels. I'll be able to use these somewhere on a robot. And then last summer, a friend of mine gave me some snowblower tires. And so they've got their studded tires. So that's what I plan on building the new outdoor bot with. While we were talking today, I just ordered a new motor shield as well for a regular Arduino that I know I've had the code working on. It's just instead of being a 50 amp motor controller, it's a 2 amp motor controller, and that I've successfully run that code with that PID loop on a regular Arduino.
I have a question about next month's presentation. Is it schematic and PCB?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what brand, I guess, or whatever?
Let me post. I can post the link in the chat. Let me just remember. Let's see.
Go to the makerspace calendar.
Um, buried in email.
It'll be April 27. And here's a link to the invite on the Dallas Makerspace. We could spell it correctly. So he gives the name of the Easy EDA and JCL PCB.
Okay.
And there's somewhere, if you can find, he gave this presentation or a variant of it some time back at the Makerspace. If you could find that, there's a video of it somewhere. Somewhere. Let's see if I can find it.
Brady Pamplin is going to present, and he sent me a link to the YouTube video that he bases this off of. Here it is. Yeah, it's in the Dallas Makerspace invite. I shared the YouTube link that shows whose package it represents, and basically they go through. They assume you've got a schematic of some kind, and so they go through from the schematic to laying out the board, routing it, and ordering PCBs online.
Open this up. Check it out.
Yeah, I looked at the Easy EDA and it's online tools. That's nice.
Yeah.
Guess you can download it too or something.
Yeah, I think Brady does a lot with very easily accessible items. So he keeps it well explained and simple, I think.
Well, I got something I can show just because this last week has been a sort of a go through the shells and pull out the old projects that got certain place and then got stopped, you know. And so this is the robot let me unplug him. This is the robot I'm messing with. And it's got a max bit up here. And it uses an Arduino Mega, but that's not I went back when I was teaching the course. What I did was I created some files for some like basic platforms that go with these yellow motors. These are the ones with the encoders. And so I use that a lot when I'm testing out ideas. I have 4 or 5 of these robots that I can go over here on the shelf and pick, well, this one's close, and screw around with it. So anyway, this is what this was supposed to do was, it was going to be a line following robot. All right, so I'm going to do a presentation. Here. Okay, now. Let's see. Okay, so I need to go to this guy. All right, so now, let's see, I got to connect them. Okay. And then run them. And so you should see this, what the plate, so this is the line, if you can see it. And let's see if I can get it to do it right. Come on. Here you can start to see it. There you go. The reason I'm doing it by hand is because, so what it does is it measures, I think the center, there's 3 lines, I'm not sure, but anyway, you see these little circles? These little circles right here tell me there's been a transition from black to white. Like I say, this is not completely, not the best of, should do something like that up there. And like if I tilt it, so you see like there's another one. You can see it over here in the corner every once in a while. You want to be able to make sure you're keyed over here and not being fooled by that. But anyway, I just thought, I pulled it out, cranked it up, was able to get it to do this. I thought that was kind of cool. So I thought I'd show you guys. Yeah. Kind of interesting little, it was pretty much a proof of concept.
Doug, was that robot that you just showed us doing that?
Yeah.
So it's a line following robot?
Yeah, the camera is looking down, and I can't remember, I'd have to look at the code, but basically it takes I think a grayscale image, and it finds, looking for like a blob detector, but then it also does, turns it into a 2-bit, either black or white. So makes the contrast really sharp, and it's using that information.
And
it's been a while since I played with it.
What you just showed us, identifying the dots, was that live or was that like a recorded?
That was live. I was just doing it right.
You got some line that you had it looking at?
Well, I have what I have is I have my own set of tiles.
Oh.
I don't use them very often because we've gone to other ways. I actually have layouts, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have vinyl layouts, but I still kept these around because sometimes when you need to do just something really quick for line following, you can just use a couple of these and make sure you're following a line.
Wow.
So anyway.
Cool.
Yeah. So anyway, I just thought I'd pull that little sucker out. I don't know where he's going to go. I may make him do something for June, but I'm still deciding. Like I say, I got a big box of similar robots with the same platform, the same motors, and same wheels, and probably the same processor. They're just, I just use them to test things out. Here's a similar robot that's it's got a Huffy lens on it. So, it's really just a test, and you can see how simple it is. this one's got an Arduino, and that's the idea of these simple robots came initially with that beginner's course that I was teaching. Though I didn't like their platform, so I designed another laser cut platform and made that so that my next class I just hand these out and say don't even buy the kit, here you go, buy these motors and whatever. And so it's good for a beginner robot. You can do an awful lot with them. Sensors are the key. So anyway, I just thought I'd share that. I'm going to be offering one of those courses later in the year, but I don't know if anybody here is really up for that. I'm hoping we can find some people who want to go and say, I want to learn robots. And we'll teach them how to do it.
So Pat suggests a black star for presenting code and images of line following.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I'll take it.
And Jim has a question.
Doug, if you put it.
Yes, Jim. What?
Is wondering, Doug, if you have the files for the laser cut.
Sure. I do. And you mean for this is the basic robot right here. Okay. And what I did is I made it so that like you can put an Uno or you can put a Mega on it. I think you can even put a Raspberry Pi on it. And it uses the TT motors that have the encoders. I don't particularly like this, but this one was probably actually one used for a class. And they all use these L298 module motor drivers, mainly because they were cheap. Really cheap, a couple bucks. Yeah, don't mind who wants them? Who wanted them?
So Jim asked if you could share it on Discord.
Okay. I don't know.
You can attach files on Discord, so you can start up in that robot projects channel. Start up a thread for that robot and post the files.
All right.
Yeah. Is it in a GitHub repository or not?
I don't know. I don't think so. But that's a good solution.
Yeah.
Because then I could have a bill of materials and all the other good stuff. Yeah. Because it turns out it's, the intent was to be kind of cheap, because, beginners often don't want to invest in a lot of money in a hobby that they're not sure they want to pursue. And
Jim's in a hurry because he's going to Makerspace tomorrow.
Well, okay. Well, I can get, I can at least get you the parts. Do you know what I'm trying to say? There's basically two laser cut parts, the back and the sensor deck, and then there's a connector between the main body and the sensor deck that's 3D printed, and then there's these little motor supports for these TT motors that are also 3D printed. That's all there is to it. So, yeah. When you do a class, you can buy these things like these casters. They don't sell you a caster. They sell you 4, 8, or 12. So if you're doing a class, it's easier for me to buy them and then just charge people for them. And things like standoffs. And I use a standard switch and a standard ground switch. So it has an on-off switch and a go button switch. Those are all standard features.
Is that the club robot?
No, it's not. It was based off of when we first did, what's the name of it? Build More Robots class. Okay, and we just told everybody here's an Amazon. You can buy it for $22 or $25. It's got all the parts you need, and we'll take it from there, and you'll pay another $10 for extra sensors later on. And it's such a pain in the butt to use the one that they had pre-done that you get with that, because there's a lot of mistakes in it, and they never fix the mistakes. So I just fixed the mistakes and made it so it was a laser cut. So like if I'm doing a class, I just laser cut them. And so anyway,
I bet they'd be interested in another beginner's class.
Yeah.
Certainly, I'd like to have an indoor robot.
That's when we'll do it after June, after the June competition.
Yeah.
Yeah. The nice thing about this is, like I say, it's a great test platform, because all you have to do is stick a new sensor on it and work out the bugs on it.
Yeah, it's got plenty of room to put like new sensors on it.
Yeah, well, the idea is the back part here, what you see is white, is got everything for the motors. You know what I mean? So you can add sensors to it, but the intent was this sensor deck in the front would be, with 2 screws, you can put a new sensor deck on. So you just change that and do your wiring into your whatever processor you're using. And by having the TT motors with encoders, you can make it a very capable motor. It can do all of our contests. You don't have to have the sensor deck this solid shape. You can change the sensor deck to be whatever you want. You want to add a claw, you put it. You can put all that on there. And like I say, 2 bolts and you're back in business. So Jim, I'll go to Discord and I'll have to find them, but I'm not too concerned. I think I know where they are. I'll download them and the basic robot and give them to you, okay? Then I'll try to find the 3D printed parts. I'm pretty sure I can put my hands on those pretty easily too. Well, here it is again, guys. 9:40. I think it's time.
It's about that time.
Okay. So, Jim, I'm going to try and put them out tonight. Okay?